So we're going to move on to a summary of session 3, and Monica and Eric, take it away.
Okay, so I'll start this off and go over the issues and then hand it off to Eric to talk about the solutions. You're going to start to see some commonality between what's expressed in these various sessions here. Issue number 1, lack of evidence to guide treatment for older adults represents an ethical issue of importance to our society, something that I don't think we can emphasize enough. Second, study designs that do not specifically address the needs of older adults are unlikely to achieve significant representation from older patients and may not involve endpoints that are most meaningful for older adults. So study design truly matters, and without considering the needs of our older patients, we're not going to do it right. For most diseases in oncology, there is limited incentive for some pharmaceutical companies to obtain data relevant to patients who are older and more frail. This is one of the major reasons why we have not seen these data to date. Studies that specifically address treatment of older adults, unfortunately, are also of relatively low priority once a drug is approved without an age restriction in the label. And then finally, FDA has limited authority to require data on treatment of elderly patients, even when these patients represent a significant proportion of patients with the target disease. So, Eric?
Thanks, Monica. So I'm going to go through some of the solutions that were discussed in our session. And I first just want to thank the speakers in the session who presented examples of registrational intent trials that did successfully enroll older patients, and there were examples of industry-sponsored trials. So this shows this can be done and provide an outline to potential solutions. So the first, and has been mentioned by Don, is that I think we have to set up the phase 3, and that requires obtaining knowing what the proper dose would be for an older population, whether or not it has to be different than other populations, and again, understand whether there are any unique safety concerns. And these would come from earlier phase studies, so it has to begin there. It was discussed that, and I think it's been mentioned before, is that there should be inclusion of experts in geriatric oncology as these trials are designed. Some of these examples that were given have shown that it is possible to conduct separate, adequately powered studies where you restrict eligibility to older or frail adults, again, in some cases after or parallel to enrollment of younger, healthier patients. For diseases with a wide age distribution, again, the desire is to include expansion cohorts as necessary to test therapy in older adults. And one of the ways that this can be done is to include community sites. It was shown that these sites tend to enroll an older patient population, and this can support access to patients to enroll on phase 3 trials, and may require, again, help in terms of ensuring that these community sites are available to participate in the trials. And as has been mentioned, there should also be efforts to facilitate older patient enrollment by helping with travel, and as well as, again, as Don mentioned, making sure that trial designs are not inappropriately exclusionary, just from a practicality perspective for older patients. Next slide. So it also was discussed that, and as of course this meeting will serve as a great vanguard for this, is to bring geriatric oncology into the mainstream of clinical research by disseminating tools and best practices that enable enrollment of older or frail patients. There was also an interesting example of the use of composite new endpoints that include, for example, quality of life type of assessments that may enable a better evaluation of clinical benefit in an older patient. And then finally, there was agreement that there should be expansion of FDA authority to require submission of data to address agent use in older or less fit adults, when these individuals are likely to make up a significant percentage of those patients with the target disease who will get the new therapeutic. So thanks, and I'll pass it on to the next group.
Thank you both very much for that summary.